Joe talks about Joe. And now, your host, Joe Slepsky.
And welcome to Joe on Joe. I'm your host, Joe Slepsky, and you are back this week for an exciting episode, exciting for a multitude of reasons. And let me tell you why. This week, we've got an episode that is borderline insane crazy and borderline awesome in Iceberg Goes South. And more importantly, my guest this week is one of you. He's a listener. His name is Brian Cunnane. He listens to the show, and he reached out over Gmail and said, hey, I want to be a guest on the show. And of course I said yes. So Brian Cunnane's calling in from San Diego. Brian, welcome to Joe on Joe.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I can't tell you how excited I am to be here. I absolutely love the show. And let me just tell you, fans as guest hosts, that's the coolest idea. So I really appreciate it. That's the true power of podcasting right there.
I agree 100%, man. I agree. So I never say no. And so far, it's been a wonderful treat. Everyone that I've had on has been a fantastic guest from all walks of life. And you are just a continuation of that because you, sir, are our prosecutor in Southern California.
Absolutely true.
That's exciting. So you're a lawyer. You said you've been a lawyer for about 16 years.
That's right. Yeah. I've only practiced law as a criminal prosecutor. Got out of law school. It's the one thing and the only thing that I wanted to do is in terms of a career. And I've just been very lucky to get into that field and stay there. And I can't imagine myself doing anything else.
That's really exciting. So it's the one thing. So at what point in your life did you know you want to do that? Like at a young age?
Yeah, I think probably when I was about a teenager. I hate to admit it because I think my way in was episodes of Law and Order and maybe LA Law, things like that. And naive as that was at the time. And then I just started pursuing a education in criminal justice and got more and more interested. And then in law school, clerking in prosecutorial offices, and I was sold.
It's really exciting. Where did you go to law school?
I went to law school at UC Davis in Sacramento.
Oh, sure.
Or Davis area.
My only connection with UC Davis, I have two older sisters, and one of them went out there for a volleyball recruiting trip, and she came back home with a pair of UC Davis knee-high athletic socks for me.
Well, doesn't everyone need a pair?
Yeah. So I grew up with one pair of UC Davis socks, so I'm very familiar with UC Davis.
Well, that's great. It's a great town.
Awesome, man. And are you married, kids, wife, partner, anything?
All the above. Married. I've got 3 kids, and I'm trying to get them into Joe. It's a little early yet. They're all very young.
How old are they?
I'm working my way in. So I have a 5-year-old, almost 6-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a newborn.
Oh, congratulations. How was the newborn?
That's a handful, a month old.
Oh, a month. Wow. Wow. Fantastic.
So my wife has been very generous to give me some time away to join you and the show and talk about one of my favorite hobbies, G.I. Joe.
Well, you tell her thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. That's really wonderful, man. It'll be a few years till they really have to get into Joe.
That's right.
But I know you'll ease them into it. We appreciate that for sure.
I'm working on the indoctrination right now.
So what was your intro to Joe? Like, how old were you when you found it, and what was that experience like for you?
Yeah, I think my experience was probably much like folks my age. I was big into Star Wars, the 3 3/4 at the time.
Yeah.
And then at some point, I remember, I don't exactly know how old I was, but at some point I saw some friends with G.I. Joe, and it was like, going from black and white to seeing color for the first time, the articulation and the different characters. And there was another group of 3 3/4 figures that I could collect. So my gateway to Joe was the toys. And then after starting collecting them, I turned to the comics because I just wanted more and more Joe. And the Marvel, the original Marvel run, started with issue 17, and then from there the cartoon, and basically consuming everything that I could G.I. Joe.
That's great. I think for me it was the action figure first, and then the cartoon, and then I found the comic book, and it's all downhill from there. It's funny. I spent this morning. I was up kind of getting my system set up and everything, and I'm a big comic book collector, and I've got a comic book database I subscribe to, an online one, and it's great, super comprehensive, lists every single comic, mainstream comic that's out there. And so I decided, I'm in the mood for G.I. Joe. Let's, and I have I've said like pretty much every issue of G.I. Joe published except for a handful. So I was like, let me go through one by one. And I spent an hour this morning just going on eBay, knocking out like the 6 or 7, seriously, like single issues of random things that I didn't have.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I went on a G.I. Joe eBay buying spree this morning. So when they come, I'll update you viewers on the awesomeness. A bunch of one-shots I never heard about and giveaway promos and things like that.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so you're never too old to catch up on your Joe comic collection is what I'm saying.
I agree 100%.
Also, so you're calling from San Diego. I also want to give a big shout out to former Joe on Joe guest and always friend of the show, Jericho Wilson. He came back from San Diego and he brought me back a one of those Missile Command headquarters, the San Diego exclusive toy. Did you see what they were doing with that, Brian?
Oh, I absolutely did. Yeah, I saw them online. It was like the original cardboard version. I had never had the original version, but I saw that sweet deal.
Yeah, I didn't. I never had the original either, and he brought it to the shop just yesterday and gave it to me as a gift. And so Jericho, if you're listening, I'm super indebted. I love it so much. It's really great. The box is amazing. Like it's completely it's not made out of old school box cardboard, but the wrapping that they have on it makes it look old and distressed and yellowed. And it's just fantastic. And since it's all cardboard in there, it weighs nothing. He was joking like, I was worried they just sold me an empty box. I'm like, no.
That's a good friend, right?
Yeah.
There.
Oh my God, are you kidding me? I love it. I can't wait to find a nice place to display it. So listen, you have a chance to watch Iceberg Goes South?
I had absolutely no recollection of this episode. I think I probably blocked it out. I've since watched it, and it is insane, just like you said.
It's crazy, right? Like
it's the craziest episode ever, no doubt.
It's Island of Dr. Moreau meets John Carpenter's The Thing, right? Yeah. Crossed over with I don't even know what, because like, yeah, there's a lot of craziness that we'll get into it. I love that it features Iceberg though, because he's a character. He was one of the newer Joes, and anytime you get a spotlight episode like we had just recently done, the Rotten Egg, with Leatherneck. So I always love spotlight shows, but to go from man into actual killer whale, that's a transformation.
I'm telling you, I watched this and I envisioned the scriptwriter sitting in a room with a roulette wheel of ideas, and they just kept spinning it. Oh, here's a character we should use. Oh, here's a concept we should use. It's just a total mishmash.
Well, it's funny. So you mentioned the scriptwriter. It was written by Mary Screens, and actually, I looked her up because I'm familiar with her work. Because she had done a couple previous episodes of the Joe, but I'm familiar with her from the comic book world, and she had previously written 2 favorite episodes of ours. She wrote Bazooka Saw a Sea Serpent. Do you remember that one?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, and Red Rocket's Glare, which is like a classic. That's in like top 10 category, right? So it's really well written. It's got great character stuff. It's just the premise is nuts. That's kind of that's like the verdict on it. It's a nuts premise. But she also she worked a lot with Steve Gerber in comics, who came from Howard the Duck and was a very satirical activist type writer in the late 70s, early 80s. And one of the books that she worked on with him was Omega the Unknown, which is are you familiar with that at all?
No, I don't know that one.
Yeah, it's kind of an existential superhero book that came out in like 83 or something. So it's a very heady concept at the time. And they did a revival of it in the mid 2000s. It never really hooked because it was an oddball character. It was about a little boy who summoned this Omega the Unknown, but he never spoke, so you never really knew if he was real or not. Or it's a fascinating book. I recommend picking it up. They've reprinted it a handful of times over the years. I don't know if it's currently in print, but more recently, she worked on a book called, and this actually is appropriate for you. It kind of dips into your personal life. Actually, not personal life. That'd be really weird. It's about a husband with 3 lovely kids and a wife. No, it's your professional life. She worked on a book called Hard Time, which was about a kid who goes to jail, and in jail he learns that he's got some kind of superpowers, and it takes place in a world of not like a world of superheroes, so it's just a regular old world. But while he's in jail, he realizes when he goes to sleep, he can kind of summon a demon.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, but it realistically follows what his life would be like. Like he doesn't use it to break out of jail. Like he's in jail, and it's like he got, I think he might have been framed. He might have been like, I've been a few years since I read it, but he was really young when he went to prison. So it just follows what that kid's life would be like, as realistic as a comic can deal with it.
His superpower didn't include turning into a half walrus or anything, did it?
No.
Okay. I don't want to give anything away.
But that would have been, listen, I don't care what you've done in your life. If you go to jail and all of a sudden you're like, all right, let me out because I'm going to turn into half walruses, I'd be willing to offer parole. I would vote for parole on that. Maybe that's
Absolutely.
how OJ got out.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
I mean, he's half something. I don't know what.
Right. Well, so Mara Screens, she wrote it, so I'm excited to see it. Are you ready to go?
I'm ready to roll.
Okay, very cool. Brian Cunnane, thank you so much for joining us this week. If you guys are out there, if you're on social media, you want to follow me at Joe on Joe Pod. That's on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. You could send me an email, just like Brian did, to joeandjoepod@gmail.com. And we've got a couple other beyond you. We've got a couple other fans that have lined up to get it. So I am quickly running out of episodes, and I'm booking guests left and right. Brian, it's crazy.
Oh, that's great.
It's
a great show.
What's going to happen is it's going to make me do the DIC episodes.
Yeah. I'm glad I got in when I could.
Yeah, that's a threat. Actually, that's not a promise. That is an actual threat.
Well, you got the Renegades too. I don't know if you have any interest in that.
I've been talking about that a little bit. The Renegades are good, but they're not fun. There's no fun to it.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure. And actually, I got a couple other ideas I've been working on too. So we'll talk to it. We'll announce that when we're ready to announce that. But right now, we are ready to watch Iceberg go south. Brian, you all ready?
I'm ready, sir.
Fantastic. All right, and here we go.
Yo, Joe!
So, Brian, did you have any of these toys?
Almost all of them, except for the flag that starts this promo and mocks me every single time.
I know, right? Yeah. It's almost cruel.
It's completely cruel.
It's almost cruel in that way.
But basically everything else I think I had at one point or another. Unfortunately, I'm just now rebuilding the collection.
Yeah, did you so what happened to your collection? Is it something you just you gave away when you got a little older, or
I think my parents threw it away when I got older.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh no. Oh no.
Yeah, I know. It's hard. I can't think about it.
It was weird, man. My parents, it was the one thing they knew not to touch. Like, I think they just knew me, that I was a collector, and not to touch my stuff. Like, it was very much okay. When you come home, you'll have to do something with it. But in the meantime, we're not throwing it away, kind of a thing.
Of course. And boys and girls, all the cool equipment and weaponry and characters you just saw. None of that's in this episode.
No. Well, let me see. No, none of that is. We got we do got Devilfish though.
Oh, that's true.
I was a big fan of the Devilfish. That shows up a little later in the episode. But right now, this is basically the opening to the movie The Thing, with Iceberg trekking across and a helicopter flying overhead and shooting instead of a dog that's actually an alien in disguise. It's a seal. And here's a Jamaican Arctic specialist. This is like the Cool Runnings G.I. Joe episode.
Makes perfect sense.
Absolutely.
I want to applaud Sunbow's effort at racial diversity, but the insensitive stereotypes with the "mon" after every sentence.
It's so true. It's so true. I feel like you have to applaud it though.
Yeah.
Because like it's baby steps, It's like Chris Claremont writing X-Men, right, in the early days. If you were Russian, every other word was, "Dos vidania." Like he was like Colossus was just always telling people goodbye, And Kurt Wagner was always swearing, "My God, mein Gott,"
yeah.
Like it's baby steps.
Seals are their favorite munchies.
It's funny you mentioned that though. I do think that every time Iceberg, in every previous episode Iceberg's shown up, and this is certainly the first showcase episode he's had, he always mentions that he's from Texas. Every time. And I think he does it twice in this episode.
I know that Mindbender comments on it too. Like, definitely running off the Filecard information in the dialogue.
Yeah. Like they, because it is clever. It is, a man of color from Texas who becomes a snow specialist, right? Like, it's not necessarily something you would. It's not a stereotype you would think. Oh yeah, that happens every day, right?
Right.
So I feel like they just wanted to remind everybody, hey, this is kind of a cool idea we came up with.
I live sure, but
I always love these implausible conversations they're having. Like she's hovering 500 feet above ground. Yeah. They're just yelling back and forth to one another.
Well, they're apparently using the same earbud technology that they use in all the Fast and the Furious movies. Yeah. as they're driving at high speeds and doing flips in their own cars, talking to each other casually.
Hey, here comes some more improbable vehicle-to-vehicle conversations now.
Wow. Someone just fired a missile at her. Did you have the the battle? No, so I always get this wrong. It's the polar battle bear and the snowcat. Yeah.
I had the snowcat, not the battle bear.
Okay. I love the snowcat's yellow, like the yellow tinted canopy. I always thought that was pretty cool. And then it had windshield wipers.
Yeah, windshield wiper. Missiles on skis. What else could you need?
I know, right? It's like that little detail of putting a windshield wiper. I was always like, oh, okay, it's real now. Even G.I. Joe has to deal with windshield wipers. So who's the little girl? Who's like the I don't mean little girl. Like who's the lady on Beachhead's desk? Did you notice that?
I did, but I had no idea. Just to give Beachhead a little personality.
Beachhead's,
a sweetheart back home.
Beachhead's got a blonde little sweetheart at home.
Yeah.
I want answers.
Yeah.
Hey, watch it.
Now this is crazy. So the girl from Jamaica, and pardon me, I didn't catch her name. Mahia. So she takes off and she's a little rude to Iceberg, but she drops that seal DNA test with him.
The carefully labeled sealed
carefully
vial.
Labeled. Meanwhile, Wetsuit, he is a Navy SEAL, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he
Maybe
takes
I'll
it
pay her
literally.
a visit
He's
after
like,
I turn in my report.
Iceberg, my man. Why
is that
wait?
my DNA?
Hey,
Like, is she trying to clone
get out of
me?
here now. Once you check in, he's not going to let you traipse off to the Tropodome.
Guess you're right.
Yeah.
You can take the ski mobile.
So we got a little
I'll turn in your
exposition.
reports.
We got a little explaining, basically. Viewers, this is the dilemma. So she's getting ready to go to the Tropodome, which is super hot, in the middle of the Arctic. So she goes from wearing snow to like a jungle dress.
Makes perfect sense.
I
don't know why she used the radio to call in. She could have just yelled like everybody else does.
Right? Mr. Mindbender doesn't have his earbuds in.
They've erected the most technologically advanced building in the world and put grass huts in it.
Yeah. Well, you want it to look authentic, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you want the animals that we're about to... Oh! So she gets strangled by some kind of...
Stop or suffer the consequences.
We're going to find out right now, like a dog, hyena,
Going to hurt her, Dr. Mindbender.
monster. So now we're getting to shades of Island of Dr. Moreau.
Island of Dr. Mindbender.
The Island of Dr. Mindbender. That's exactly right. Did you ever see... there's two things. One, the movie, the Island of Dr. Moreau movie, that is absolutely crazy with Val Kilmer and Marlon Brando.
I've never seen it.
Well, it's insane. And they've recently, a couple years ago, someone did a documentary on how crazy it was. And it's absolutely insane. I highly recommend you seeking it out.
When Cobra agreed to subsidize
This is a neat bit that we're getting here, is that we're further showing that Cobra has so many plans going on all over the world. You know, like it's kind of like Hydra. Like you cut off one head, two more take its place, right? Like you stop one plan, that's okay. Cobra's got all these other plans going on. Because Mindbender's had this going on for years, apparently.
What I don't understand is why Dr. Mindbender needs this random Jamaican geneticist. Like he's accomplished the greatest historical feat in DNA recombination. He created a Serpentor.
It's true.
Right?
Yeah. Well, you know what? Let's play a little fanfic. Maybe his Serpentor experiments were based off of the stuff that he's doing here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like maybe this provided some of the groundwork that he used to actually make Serpentor.
Was Iceberg reading the Rise and Fall of the Roman Empire?
Yeah, sure. As he built an igloo, he just straight up built an igloo outside.
Well, it was so far back to the base.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow. And so these monsters in Cobra uniforms attack Iceberg. Today's Filecard feature is on the Cobra Maggot Driver, codenamed W.O.R.M.S. Now that's W.O.R.M.S with a W period, O period, R period, M period, S period. W.O.R.M.S stands for Weapons Ordnance Rugged Machine Specialist. W.O.R.M.S are self-propelled artillery specialists of the Cobra ground forces and are cross-trained within their blanket specialty. Any single W.O.R.M.S can man any position on a maggot, be it driver, gunner, loader, or diesel mechanic. Under optimum conditions, a maggot is manned by a crew of 4, a commander, driver, gunner, and loader. Under battle conditions, it is possible for a maggot to stay in action, maintaining fire capability with its crew reduced to 2. Quote, a battery of maggots can receive target information from a central fire control vehicle and is capable of firing guided and brilliant munitions, some of which are ECM, that's electronic countermeasures, resistant, fire and forget, self-targeting, and proximity-fused heat, high-explosive anti-tank rounds. A maggot's crew doesn't have to think too hard, which is why the only requirement for being a W.O.R.M.S is the ability to walk while holding a bogey wheel under one arm and a 155mm shell under the other. One of the reasons I wanted to do W.O.R.M.S this week is because I always have been, and still to this moment, fascinated by the name W.O.R.M.S. So you can have a platoon of W.O.R.M.S, but am I a worm? I'm a rugged machine specialist, but I'm not plural. W.O.R.M.S is plural. It has always bothered me as a fan. I remember seeing this figure thinking, well, what are they? Is it worms or am I a worm? There's a plurality to it that has always bothered me. They dress in brown and yellow, and strangely, their helmet makes them look a little bit like the Rocketeer. And of course, they drove the Cobra Maggot, which is kind of a boxy-looking treaded vehicle. It's kind of in that not streamlined boxy phase of the toys. So, not a huge fan of it, but I'm fascinated by the decision on the name. So, Worm or Worms, or whomever you are, however many of you that there are, we salute you.
Back to G.I. Joe.
And back from the break, Iceberg's getting attacked by kind of like werewolf-looking dudes. They look like they're transformed wolves, but they were all wearing blue Cobra soldier outfits.
They're well dressed. Yeah.
Very well dressed.
Iceberg, come in.
No reply.
And Dial Tone, Lady J, Wetsuit, they're back at the Arctic base.
He's got a lady friend over at the Tropodome.
Wetsuit's insinuating that Iceberg is off canoodling.
Oh, would I do a thing like that?
I love Wetsuit. He's awesome. He's fun. And Iceberg is all trussed up in a savage cage.
Is hotter in Galveston, Texas.
There you go. He just had to
There he
remind
is.
us that he's from Texas, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that dude. So that dude looks like a evolved monkey.
Yeah. What did they combine with that guy?
I don't know. He's like
There's a frogman in there too.
oh,
or
there's
this dude.
look at the green dude.
Refuse to eat, man.
It's a
They
bunch
want
of creatures.
real
That
meat, not
now
the
is
synthetic protein we give them.
is that
Synthetic
bird?
protein
Oh,
is what
that's the
keeps
real
them
meat.
mutants.
So one of the wolf guys grabs a local bird, which, explain this to me. They really made a full-on ecosystem down there, right?
That's
Where
right.
they even have birds, wildlife living in there. You know what I mean? It's not just they're keeping a savage land like temperature place. They actually put wild birds and wild animals in there.
If you're going to build a biodome in the Antarctic, why not go all the way?
Right? Listen, if you're gonna do it well. You're absolutely right. So Iceberg's taken in by walrus men. Although this whole thing is a bit of a precursor to one of the figures that we did a spotlight on for the Filecard feature, the Hydro Viper, because the Hydro Viper they surgically merged, given like fish gills, and they gave them web fingers and stuff, and they were saying that like they were hardly considered human anymore.
No, you're not going
So this
to
has some
like
basis in the toy line too.
Dr. Mindbender, something approaches.
Oh, yeah.
Although that dude's like Emmett Otter's Christmas. ain't no hole in the wash tub. Did you have the devilfish?
Absolutely.
I loved the
Yeah.
devilfish. I had 2 devilfishes, and it was just the best. They were so cool. I liked that the motor casing had you could remove it.
Yeah.
It had great missiles, had the underwater torpedoes. You could fit like 3 dudes on it. Yeah, the devilfish was pretty sweet. Snowjob gets thrown into the water, and he pulls a inflatable, like an inflatable life raft thing on his suit, and so he's going to float back up to the surface. But Wetsuit, turns out he's been working on a custom suit that's kind of like a Transformery Iron Man kind of suit, and it looks like his normal regular wetsuit, but it gives him fins and gives him a motorized backpack. I don't really know why that's so special, because it looks like, you know.
Yeah, exactly. That never made sense to me. It was really critical for him to be able to test out this new prototype system that he has here in the Antarctic, and it's flippers and propellers.
Yeah,
that's it.
And it seems like he always has that anyway. So, you know, but maybe it's because he can walk around with regular shoes and the flippers pop out. Maybe that's, you know, it saves him having to carry around a set of extra flippers.
Yeah,
like he's always complaining about the flippers. The pegs come off in the hole in my foot. They never stay on.
Man. I'm the delicate type.
Get it? Hole in the foot.
This one easy.
Get it?
Couldn't find the other one.
That's okay. I wouldn't laugh either. It wasn't that good. But okay, Snowjob is so inflated. He just looks massive. But he deflates. That's a pretty awesome feature on his outfit. And probably, honestly, necessary, because like if he got caught in a avalanche, I'll bet you he could also inflate that to protect him during an avalanche.
Dual purpose.
You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
to kind of like they did. It was in like a James Bond movie where he had like a suit that put a bubble around him, like a inflatable rubber ball bubble, and it protected him from an avalanche. It could have like the same kind of effect where his suit just gets so puffy, the avalanche hits, and then it unpuffs and he crawls out.
I don't want any part of this.
You must watch, Mahia. His
Mon.
mutation will be
Okay.
faster and
I think they
correct
forgot a
like
Mon.
anything
Yeah,
he's
I think so.
attempted.
I love
If
this.
anything goes
Mindbender is
wrong,
like,
I want you two to be able to correct.
okay, that's why he's like, you have to watch. Like, you can't take your eyes off this monstrosity we're about to do. So the machine is firing up, and no, they don't bother taking off any of his clothing. They just straight up start blasting him with some lasers, and he's going to grow and mutate and somehow go from the form of a human man. That otter dude is crazy. And he's going to morph into a killer whale. And we're going to find out what that looks like when we come back from this commercial break. I can't handle it, Brian. I can't.
Here comes the new Cobra Hammerhead.
The Cobra Hammerhead will sink those Joes!
The Hammerhead is 6 vehicles in one, with sea sleds, attack submarines, and flight pods, with missiles that really fire.
Fire! Fire! Fire!
But here comes the G.I. Joe Retaliator.
Rescue those Joes! Grab the tank with the gripper claw!
A real American hero! Get G.I. Joe Tom!
G.I. Joe Hammerhead comes with figure. You put it together, G.I. Joe Retaliator and other figures sold separately.
Now back to G.I. Joe.
And so now you're back from commercial, you're excited, and you're like, what is he? And he is literally turning into a whale. I don't know where he's getting that mass. I don't know where his bones are. Like, it's one thing to make a human-esque walrus-looking guy,
Gotta stay awake.
but he's a straight fish.
Yeah, he's full whale.
Yeah, although whales are mammals, though, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so he's technically still mammal, but come on, that's a full whale.
Excellent.
That's crazy.
But the inherent weakness in this is if they eat meat, they turn back into humans.
Correct.
So not really sure why they didn't just try this on some rhinoceroses or bison in like another existing arid environment already.
Yeah. Also, it makes me think this is some kind of like vegetarian screed.
There's a very pro meat message here.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. There's something going on here.
Brought to you by the American Beef Council.
So, Brian, we've been talking for a while now. What would your G.I. Joe or Cobra affiliation be? I've been asking various guests, and everyone's come up with something fun. So I'm going to ask you, if you could be a member of the Joe or Cobra team, would you be a Joe or Cobra, and what would your job be, and what would your name be?
I would be a dreadnought because I absolutely love the dreadnoughts.
Yes.
And so much fun. And who doesn't want to drink grape soda and eat chocolate donuts?
Totally.
So I would just be constantly wreaking havoc everywhere. And, Havoc might be a good code name. And I'd like to have a mohawk and wear some Mad Max type attire.
Awesome. And what would your name be?
Havoc.
Havoc. Spelled like the X-Man or like the Joe vehicle?
Like the Joe vehicle, probably. I might have to pick something else. That's already taken too. Now that I think about it, the Joe vehicle, another cool vehicle.
Yeah. Well, I like it. Havoc. Havoc. So you're any specialty for being a dreadnought? Like, what's your background? Like, were you like a prep school? Like one of them was prep school kid that went bad. Oh, this is neat. Lady Jade, she was parachuting in and she got hung up at the top of the dome by her parachute.
Yeah, she's like only 150 feet off the ground, but
yeah. Or so, what would your background be, or what weapon would you carry as a dreadnought to give you a little specialty here? Oh,
that's a good one. I hadn't given that much thought. I would definitely have like a prep school background, and high school dropout.
How about this? You want to be a high school? I was going to say, with your prosecutor background, what if you carried a bunch of like gavels? And you just like, maybe they were oversized. You beat people over the head with them. Maybe some are explosive, stuff like that.
Oh, I love it. I want a bandolier of gavels.
I got it. Yeah. Your father was a judge. And so we keep your high school dropout status, but you hated what he stood for so much you rebelled against him.
That's right.
And you went and you joined the Dreadnoughts. And you carry all kinds of legal judicial related things like gavels and maybe your outfit's some kind of converted judge's robe or something.
Oh yeah, I've got exploding attaché cases.
Yes. I like it. Havoc in the court.
Yeah, Havoc in the court. Injustice.
How about that? Injustice.
Injustice, even better.
Injustice. Boom. Your name is Injustice, and you're the Dreadnought. Anti-legal. Anti-legal. I don't know if that is a thing. You're the Dreadnought. Anti-litigator.
He's getting away. Oh no, he's not.
Welcome to the team, Injustice.
I'm beginning to think the true motivation in building this biodome is so Mindbender can run around the Antarctic without a shirt on. Nice and warm and toasty in there.
I know, that's really it. They're like, we could have done this in just regular climate, maybe a little chillier temperature, but you would have had to put a shirt on, Doc.
They got manatees in Florida. Could have done it on manatees.
Yeah, this totally could have taken place in Florida. But wait a minute. We know Iceberg doesn't like warm temperatures.
Where's he from again? I haven't heard it in the last 30 seconds.
I think he's from Louisiana. No, that's not right. Oklahoma. No. Texas. So now Iceberg has escaped as a whale, and he is swimming in the ocean, and he's about to eat a seal, but if he does, he'll revert back to human, and then he'll freeze to death. So the Joes have to stop him from eating. And so they're using a seal they're using a seal to lure him away from seals. And he's taunting him. So that implies that even as a killer whale, Iceberg still understands, wait, the clutch is out. Really? Clutch somewhere is like, I'm here, man. I'm not. Don't blame me for this. Wetsuit fell into the water. And now he has to dodge. He looks like Michael Phelps racing the shark now. I get it why they had to have him like with the special suit this time, because now he fell in and he was instantly like ready to go underwater. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they give him the special suit earlier. So now
with the propeller.
Yeah, so with the propeller. So now the suit, he can outrace
a whale.
Exactly. And that's a whole lot of whale. How amazing would it be if, like, the meat that he eats is like his buddy's leg? Like, he reverts to human, but he happens to just eat Wetsuit's left leg, And Wetsuit's still alive, and you know, and he still stays with the team in a consultorial mode. So they're putting raw meat in him, and he's changing back to normal, but they didn't want him to just eat random seal meat. Yeah, I don't know, there's a whole lot going on here. And he's naked and freezing. And handsome, may I say. Oh,
I think that whale should be an honorary Joe. Like, you know, all the Joes had animals like Freedom and Order and Junkyard.
Wait a minute. Didn't someone come with a whale?
I don't think so. Not to my recollection.
Wasn't there? Yeah, hold on a second.
That's a pretty big blister pack. Yeah, Iceberg with the whale.
Wait a minute. G.I. Joe character.
What about Dr. Mindbender?
Whale. Well, that Google search probably will show killer whale. So Dr. Mindbender is not giving up, and he's going to shoot him down with a missile, but a random killer whale, by the way. So apparently there was another killer whale in the area. So let's see. So I just go yes. Wait. Deep Six came with a dolphin. He came with a dolphin, not a whale.
Not a whale.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Deep Six's dolphin, not the killer whale. Well, that's it. So we got Iceberg who's half whale. Maybe if you're familiar with how the lizard works in the Spider-Man like comic book, like he's always kind of the lizard. Like they cure him, but every once in a while he reverts back. Like maybe Iceberg one day will be hanging out in the pit, and he won't have eaten any meat for like a couple days, and he'll just revert slowly. How great would that be?
It'll be the only killer whale from, what was it? Brownsville, Texas?
Yeah. Oh, hey, that whale. I don't know. There's a whale in the middle of the pit. I don't know who that whale is, but he sure does look Texan. The whales at night are big and bright, deep in the heart of Texas. Well, Brian, so what'd you think of the show? Or should I say, Injustice? What did you think of the show?
A lot of fun, and totally nuts.
But well written though, like nuts and not nuts in a non-character way, just nuts in a premise way.
Yes.
You know, like the it was real character driven. I like the personal connection that Iceberg had with Mahila, and Wetsuit's concern for his buddy I thought was great. Like there was a lot to like in it. And then you get to the island of Dr. Mindbender, which is nuts. And why didn't they call this the island of Dr. Mindbender? I got to ask that question.
I think to sell more Iceberg figures. I think this was all about selling Iceberg and Wetsuit figures.
Yeah, probably true. Devilfish,
yeah.
Iceberg, Devilfish, yeah. I agree. It's all about selling figures. That's fine with me. We still get a quality episode on it.
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely. Well, Brian, thank you so much for joining us.
The pleasure was all mine. I can't thank you enough.
This was really delightful. I'm happy to have you on. And listeners, thank you for listening. And now you, Joe. And Joeing is half the battle.